Hello, folks. I am back with the ending saga of the KHX and the Aegis Elite recall. So this will be it for that. And because, as you see, I finally got my other two slides to both of these particular firearms. Uh, Kimber has been really good with this. They did have a recall. If some of you don't know, there has been some issues with the optic mounting area on both of these particular firearms. This is going to be on the uh, optic installed, whether you have the KHX or the Aegis Elite, and also regarding the uh, optic ready firearms as well. And Kimber issued this recall, I believe, as a safety measure, but they did do some modifications. And this is my packing list. And basically, on the packing list, it explains here the slide has been modified to accept a new optic plate and with a recoil lug. The new optic plates have been installed. So what they did was, I guess they put in for the optic installed versions, they probably had an optic plate that was in here. So they did what they had to do also with the milling of the slide. And as far as when it comes to the uh, optic ready models, they did some modifications with the recoil lug, and it's able to accept a new optics plate whenever they come available, especially on this particular one. Let me just start with this, the Aegis Elite. Uh, Shooting the Aegis Elite, I had no issues with this particular firearm whatsoever. But like I said, they had a recall and they were worried about if there's going to be any issues with optics flying off. What came with it was they sent me a thing of Loctite just in case, and they also gave me larger screws in case I wanted to possibly replace this optic with another optic or whatnot, whatever the case may be. So, like I said, other than that, I've never had a problem with this. This is very accurate, very reliable, and I had no malfunctions. But like I said, I guess they were erring on the side of caution because they had a few incidents with this. Uh, like I said, they did provide me with this particular information here, giving you this, and also they provided me with a what they call an optic plate design upgrade. And just reading this briefly, it says your firearm has been upgraded to meet Kimber's high quality standards. The slide has been modified to accept new optics or with the recoil lug. This new system is better to distribute recoil impact forces. So I guess what the issue was during recoil, there might have been some during the slide reciprocating, maybe the old optic plates sheared off. I'm speculating on that portion, and they shown in Figure 1.4. I guess that's this right here, 1N4. It's they show you what the new modification is right here, and then here's the recoil lug right here. So they provided that information to you, and they show you with the new optic plate that they put in, uh, so you can see when this plate goes on, then you can put in what they would call an optic. So these plates are not available as of yet, but it is made to accept it. To give you better clarity on this particular model, it comes with the suppressor height sights, and these are all you would have to do is take these off and put in the new plate. The new plate will still allow you to co-witness, as you see right here, and then would allow for an optic to sit on top here. Uh, I have roughly about, before the recall, I had about 800 rounds with no issues with this one. And then with this particular one, I got the chance to shoot it a little more. I only had 200 rounds. And so I got roughly 300 rounds in with this one today. By the way, all of these firearms have been safety checked. I'm just trying to save time, and the magazines are in for aesthetics. Um, like I was saying, with this particular firearm, only had 200 rounds prior to the recall. This is a very good firearm. To be in, this is a 9mm. This is not the 45 version, as well as this is the 9mm. These are my first two ever 9mm 1911 style firearms. So they perform flawless. It's and the accuracy, especially on this, the accuracy with the Vortex Venom, which was already installed by the company by Kimber. It was extremely accurate, and you would have to see my other videos to understand what I was talking about on that. So I'm gonna get this out of the way here because I want to show you a little bit more about the KHX and 9mm. You saw in my previous video, I do have a version of this in 45 ACP. So just before I get into showing you the targets and whatnot, I wanted to mention that the reason why I only got 200 rounds in because I had a problem with the front sight. The front sight started moving on me and it was twisting off, and then I tried to put it back on. When I was trying to put that back on, I believe I damaged the finish. And if you look at my prior video, you would notice that there was a marks over here when I was trying to reinstall it, which was my fault. And on top of that, I did drop the firearm, or I believe, if I remember correctly. But anyway, it had some damaging marks on here. Kimber, when I sent the slides back, Kimber, they did probably a remilling, and I guess they could tell that I was trying to put the optic on properly, because I did have some a little bit of spew of Loctite on here, so I did pretty much a sloppy job. So Kimber refinished this area where I had little markings right on this particular side, and they did a very good job. I was worried whether, if I got this firearm back, whether these marks would be on there. So thank you very much, Kimber, for basically repairing something that I did stupid around here. So let's get back to this particular firearm and its shooting capabilities. This firearm shoots extremely well and accurate. My other targets weren't that great because, like I said, the front sight moved on me. Now, full disclosure, this is at 10 yards, but this is a combination of this firearm and the CZ P-10C that I picked up today, which I found on sale. So this is a combination of both of these firearms. So it was at the same distance. I ran out of targets because I had one target testing out another firearm for another video, and then I had this particular target, so I was sharing shooting with both of these. Now, I'm not going to go through what a review on the P-10C. There's tons of them out there, and what I will say about this is what made me pick this up is I have the P-10F, and I really like the P-10F a great deal, so I wanted something in a smaller size, preferably like a Glock 19 size. We all know the features, how it breaks down and so forth, but I do feel as though that on this particular model that it is stiff right here for the ambidextrous mag release. It is a little stiff. I know some people were complaining about that. See, I can't do that with one hand. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll cheat and use my support thumb to release a mag, like in a shooting drill or something of that nature. As far as the slide goes, there's seems to be a little bit of stiffness there as well. When I'm on this side, it's not as bad. Well, there you go. It's not as bad. I usually overhand rack anyway, so that's not the issue, but not an issue for me anyway. So this is a combination of both the P-10C, because I wanted to break it in. I'll do a little more shooting with this at another time. And basically, I want more of the shots were from this particular Kimber KHX. Most of the shots were from this one because, like I said, I didn't really get enough trigger time because of the front sight was moving when I first initially had it before the recall. So this shoots like a dream. It really does, especially even though it has these higher sights, these suppressor height sights. This is a really good sight system. For some reason, when CZ puts out a firearm with suppressor height sights, they tend to be pretty good, giving you a good sight picture. So this is how it turned out for me shooting with both of these firearms. We all know what this is. We all know how good the P-10C is. So I really like this firearm very much, and it complements my P-10F. But back to this one, I am really surprised. Like I said, this was my first 9mm 1911. I'm really happy with it. I'm going to do an experiment with it to see if I will be able to, let's say, carry this. I do have a holster for it. There's a holster that I had specially made for it from Vetter holsters. And all I'm waiting for now is the experiment's going to be is carrying this with an optic. So whenever those optic plates show up, which I believe it will be months from now, you'll be the first to know. Outside of that, that's all I have, folks. Like I said, this is the last video on the recall. Say that 3 times fast. The last video that I wanted to do on that. And any questions, if anybody has this firearm or have any questions for me, feel free to contact me. I'll get you the information that you need to know from Kimber. Okay, that's all I have. Happy shooting. Stay safe. #2A.